This is Bruce Bishop for ChronicleT.com. Today marks day 5 of the Daniel Kovarbasich trial, and only 2 witnesses took the stand today as the final testimony wrapped up. One, a North Ridgeville police detective who testified about the contents of computers taken from the home, and Daniel Kovarbasich himself, who testified about all the events the day that Dwayne Hurley died.
And I walked over, seen the pickle jar, just hit him in the back of the head with it.
Now, tell us about how you did that, as you recall.
I got up, as I got up, I walked, and then he said something else too, and he put his face in the bed. I forget what happened. I was just walking, and I remember being mad, and I just seen the pickle jar, and I just picked it up and just slammed it in the back of his head.
You heard Dr. Mattis testify that his autopsy was consistent with Dwayne being in the pickle jar at least 3 times. What was your recollection?
My recollection was he was definitely only hit with that pickle jar 1 time.
And tell us again how you did that.
The pickle jar was, here's the end, here's the end of his bed right here, and then right here's the dresser, and over here's the computer. And I walked around, the pickle jar was here's the end of his bed, right here. And I remember just picking it up, and I was standing on my dad's knees, and I just lifted it up and threw it at him. And then it bounced off, you heard it, and it bounced off, and then I ended up over here, and then he was getting up, and he was like, what was that? Then I remember my pocket knife was in my back pocket. I went to pull it out, and I was trying to open it, and I almost dropped it, and I just lunged at him and stabbed him. And then I remember looking at it, and it was broken, and he was still getting up, and then I went off, and I remembered seeing the kitchen knife on the counter. And then I went to the kitchen, and I went to grab the kitchen knife, and I grabbed it, and I'm guessing I dropped the pocket knife in the hallway because I remember picking it up at the end of the hallway. And I came out, and then as I was coming out, I seen him coming, and he was coming down, and then I ended up moving, and he still came for the kitchen, where I was right there in the kitchen. I came over here, and then I remember putting the knife in my other hand, and he just came at me, and I just started hitting him, and then he ended up
What were you hitting him with?
My hands. And he ended up falling into me, and then I ended up hitting him, and then he fell, and he came back up, and then somehow he ended up on his stomach, and I remember kicking him, and then.
How many times did you kick him?
I think 4 or 5 times.
And where did you kick him at?
In the back of the head.
And then what did you do?
Then I stabbed him with the kitchen knife.
And do you remember how many times you stabbed him?
I thought I only stabbed him 17 the most times, so I guess I stabbed him 53.
Just stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing.
Well, it didn't go like that. It happened fast.
What's going on in your mind at this point?
I don't really know.
And what happened?
And I went back into the kitchen. Well, first I remember the dog jumping at me, and I pushed the dog off me. And then I walked into the kitchen. I went to grab the phone, and I came back through, and then I looked and it really hit me. I'm what just happened? Walked through, seen the knife on the ground, kept walking through, went to call my dad, and then he didn't answer. I ended up calling him back again, and he was like, well, I'm coming, and I was like, all right, and I tried to explain to him, hey, what was going on, and he was like, just, I'll be there, and then I ended up walking, and I seen the knife, and I remember forcing it closed, and then I put it in my pocket, walked out the back door, went around, put it in the sewer, and then my dad was right there, and then he went, because I don't think he really believed me, and then we went back, and then we walked up in the house, and he just stood
Did you go into the house with your dad?
Oh, yes, I did. And he just stood at the steps and just kept saying, oh my God. And he's like, we gotta go.
How were you feeling at this point?
I was